Engaged girlfriend tries to force her way into the family, demanding to be called daughter and expecting me to walk her down the aisle. I, 41M, have 2 kids with my ex-wife, 42F, a son John 22 and daughter Sally, 20, I'm remarried to my wife, 28. I'm very close with my kids, my son is engaged to Abby, she seems nice but has been a bit pushy trying to create relationships with me and my wife, though she's also awkward with her. Abby isn't close to her family, she told us many stories why, and while some of her complaints don't seem awful, it's not my place to judge and I didn't live it so I can't know anyway. We've tried to be welcoming but Abby has forced her way into some family traditions where she wouldn't have been invited, and some where no one outside of specific family would have. She has been calling Sally sis since they were only dating a few months, has an odd sister/mother-in-law thing she does with my wife, and the one I'm not a fan of, wants me to be like father to her. Not because we've clicked or anything. We are very different people, not saying that in a bad way, just saying it's not based on how we get along or anything. My kids and I have a tradition when they come over that we have a private catch-up in my office/study before they leave, which is now even more important to them because while they both get along well with my wife they don't want to have personal conversations around her yet. Abby asked if we could talk, and after I explained the tradition John later asked that I do it, saying she'd never had a caring conversation with her dad. We compromised that I didn't include her in the tradition but do join the 2 of them for coffee and let her talk. Then she started calling me dad, they weren't even engaged yet. John pulled me aside and begged me to give her that, laid this whole thing on me about me always being the dad she always wanted right in front of her and she just wanted that, told me she cried watching me and Sally together, she still gives me random hugs, I'm a lucky dad. I didn't like it but I do feel bad so fine I gave her that. She wants me to walk her down the aisle in the father/daughter dance. I don't want to walk her down, and I walk with a cane so dancing is hard. At my own wedding I only danced twice. John is begging for me to do one, preferably the aisle. They came over Sunday, John and I were talking, I thought to address it, when Ab walked in without knocking, asking if he told me yet. I asked what, John said she wanted me to say something about having a second daughter now in my speech and how I loved her. I just looked at him. She asked if I'd do the walk and dance for Sally, I said of course. She yelled she's my daughter too and I said it will never be the same, Sally is my actual daughter. I tried to explain I'd talk about her being a happy addition to the family and I love how happy she makes Jack, which I thought was a good compromise, but she started crying. John apologized and they left, but he called me when they were home nearly begging me to. Ida because I won't lie and say I love her or she's my daughter. Oop, John told me she really wants to be part of the family, but she started so quickly I wonder how much is us versus the idea of us. I've been told she immediately was obsessed with the relationship my kids and I have. The yelling, I was more concerned for John than upset, honestly. She seemed not okay right then. Oop, she knows Sally a bit now, with me she learns surface level things and approaches me, but when I try to engage she immediately acts like we're so close and switches subjects to something related to how much closer we should be. John says it's nerves but it doesn't seem like it. Update 1. Mother's Day my kids and their partners go to visit my ex-wife. So it turns out my ex-wife and Abby are a lot closer than I realized. She calls her mom, which is part of where this comes from. Also apparently my ex has been egging it on. On hers day they were talking about the wedding and I guess whenever Abby referred to me it was as dad. My son apparently told her let it go, which led to yelling. Abby about deserving to be my daughter, ex telling her that she's right, son telling her that I am trying and she should be realistic about things, Sally telling her I only had one daughter which was apparently a response to Abby saying to her that as my daughters they should be united. According to my son Abby was crying, according to Sally she was crying and yelling and kicked something before going to her room, and Sally told me she went off on her mom, but will not elaborate so I don't know what was actually said. But knowing Sally who boy. Around 2 a.m. I got a text from Sally's partner's phone saying Abby really is great, she hasn't been perfect but you should give her a chance and you will learn to love her. I saw it when I woke up. I tried to text her back but was blocked, so I called Sally but they were driving. They stopped by my place later that day because I am on the way and my daughter prefers my liquor and cooking and they told me about the night before. At the end I asked to speak to her partner alone, I asked if I had done something to upset her. She was confused and I told her I was blocked. She said I wasn't but checked her phone and I was, and I said it was after her message and she asked what message. I showed her, it was not on her phone anymore. At that point we brought in Sally and caught her up, neither of them were happy. A couple of days later John and Abby dropped by unannounced, not something we really do in this family but okay fine, I had mad salmon, does not take long to cook. I cooked 2 more, wife serves while I make drinks. The entire night was Abby trying to bring up the wedding, John trying to change the subject, Abby not allowing that. We talk logistics because I'm helping them get some good deals through some professional contacts I have when finally she just so I was talking to mom, she said that you can walk me down the aisle and she'll do the dance, or you can dance and she'll walk, it's your call but you need to choose soon. I reiterated that I could not dance, she tried arguing that I had danced a little at my wedding but I made it clear that is different, and did not feel comfortable walking her. She got upset and said mom loves me why can't you? I felt bad but couldn't lie, I pointed out that she had John who loved her, my ex-wife, friends, she had people who love her. She said, but other than, ex-wife, those aren't my parents. I said, neither am I. She was very emotional, so my wife and I gave them a few minutes. My son and I were alone later. He looked exhausted. He said the problem was that after Mother's Day Abby had called Sally and kept saying they are both my daughters, that I did not get to be close with one but not both, and that it was them against me, but at that one Sally cried havoc and let slip the dogs of war. Things were said. Grievances were aired. John had to hang up before it got worse, but I guess Abby was shaken. But there was a new problem. Abby had decided in her head that I did not mean what I had been saying and was just doing it for Sally. He told me he would handle it. Ron Howard, he did not, so now I get text messages from Abby every couple of days acting like we have a secret relationship Sally doesn't know about. She even called herself my secret daughter and lolled. She invited my wife to lunch, saying 2 out of 3 of his girls going out. She has even started using the pressure of showing up at events like a recent barbecue to play a certain image. She hugs me more and holds it, wants to do pictures with just me or my wife and I, but always a few with just me to post with captions I do not like. My wife is getting especially annoyed because of how she is with her. I guess Abby surprised her with Father's Day plans for me that had to be shut down. As it is, she still inserts herself into the day, but she has a soft spot for her, and when Abby gets emotional she caves. My wife is a sweetheart. I asked him if he is upset with me and he said no, he just wished it was different. He said we're good, but he's worried he and Sally aren't, which is when I took the advice of some people and suggested premarital counseling. He said he would talk about it. Abby is insisting Sally go to her fitting. That shop should pay per view that potential Royal Rumble because Sally is not holding her feelings back anymore. I told him Sally loves him and I'll talk to her, but for now it is stressful all around. Abby driving my wife crazy with her ideas for what my girls should be doing, driving me crazy with dad-daughter content, drove Sally to the edge, and oh yeah, last night sent me an email with 3 styles of father-daughter dances and song options, so I'm not feeling any more respected or heard than before. The 6 of us have barely been in the same room in order to let things calm down since Father's Day, which was great until it was a shit show. Sorry this is so long, with all the craziness this is still the abridged version. We are supposed to meet Friday, Sally's partner and I have a bet going about how bad it will go. So onward and upward. I hope you fathers had a less dramatic day than I did, and by any chance does anyone know exactly how bad of a crime I need to commit to enter witness protection? Just curious. The shame is we used to sort of like her, my daughter, my wife, and myself. Early on she was interesting, diverse interests, she has traveled a lot for her age, she and I even have overlap in musical taste. The problem was when she decided she wanted this, her personality changed and she started getting pushy, changing subjects to what she wanted if they were subjects she liked. It was like everything was put on hold until we acquiesced, which we haven't, so it has not gone on. You make a good point about witness protection. Plus I have been meaning to take up location tracker free boating and scuba diving in sharky waters. I do not think confirmation is possible, but her phone was where Abby would have been able to get it according to Sally. Sally asked to be the one to tell him, this is crazy but with everything going on, job stuff, great news, family stuff, best news, wedding stuff, I try to watch my drinking, and the family exploding a bit at Father's Day, I honestly forgot to ask her what happened. I have to call her later. It's funny until you sit down and write everything out you don't realize how much there is. It just feels like one thing after another. My daughter said the same thing about the baby coming. Your second paragraph sounds like hell. Thankfully my wife has a close circle of friends for those things, but I am sure you are right that Abby will trio to insert herself in our pregnancy journey like she did my Father's Day.